The people of the motherland have come. Unfortunately, I am Superman of Doom Chapter 21. A middle-aged fat man in a suit with a big belly opens the car door and gets out of the car, ringing the doorbell. Who? A childish question came from inside the house. Morgan, it's me, Uncle Hogan. Happy Hogan, who was clearly in a good mood, exclaimed with a smile, I brought a gift to visit you. Oh, a gift? Little Laurie struggled to tiptoe, quickly opened the door, and took Happy's gift away. Your mother isn't home again, isn't she? Happy Hogan looked at the deserted interior of the wooden house and the state of the little lowly, and found that she did not feel lost by it. Poor child, already accustomed to being alone. Happy Hogan felt a little ashamed, so he postponed his date with May, and decided to stay here more at night to spend more time with Morgan, who was lonely and homely. After dinner, the two sat on the sofa on the first floor and watched TV. When he learned that Morgan had finished high school, Happy Hogan was stunned. It's only been a few months, and you're already at the point where you can go to college. Quote, yes, it's all thanks to Ichiba. Morgan stopped talking halfway through. That's right. Happy Hogan looked at the little lowly and wondered. I remember, Miss Potts once mentioned that you also have an artificial intelligence. What is it called? Quote. Morgan pursed his lips and didn't answer. Just then, a news report was broadcast on the TV, which diverted Happy Hogan's attention. This is Venice, Italy, and at noon and night today, a huge monster called the Elemental Crowd appeared here. Fortunately, two heroes intervened to prevent the disaster. They are Night Monkey and Mysterio. News reports also released video footage of the scene. You can see the fire giant monster that is larger than the floor raging in the city, and a black tight-clad figure with spider silk fights the monster with a helmeted man wearing cloak armor. Happy Hogan was stunned, and saliva almost spewed out. Night Monkey, dye another layer of color, and he knows it's Spider-Man. The other side, Venice, Italy, inside a late-night bar. A curly-haired boy in his early 16s and a mature man in armor were sitting at the bar and talking enthusiastically. Mr. Quentin Baker, you are amazing. Peter Parker was still wearing a black tights uniform, and sighed, so easily defeated the powerful monster of the Elemental Crowd. It's nothing. Mysterio Quentin Baker had already taken off his helmet and said in a low voice, I just don't want this world to suffer the same cruel experience as our world, even if I fight for my own life. Quote. Peter Parker looked at the deep and righteous mysterious guest, and suddenly fell into a trance. What's wrong, Peter? Quentin Baker gave a self-confessed sexy smile. Mr. Baker, you are very similar to a person in my side of the world. Peter Parker said, taking a pair of smart glasses out of his body, the owner of this pair of glasses. Quote. Quentin Baker narrowed his eyes, stared at the smart glasses, and knowingly asked in surprise, what is this? Edith, I can control the security system of this world, but I don't think I can have it. Peter Parker said ashamedly, looked at the smart glasses in his hand, and suddenly remembered something. To the next Tony Stark, I believe you. Quote. What did you say? Quentin Baker looked at him curiously. These are the words that Mr. Stark said when he handed me the glasses. Peter Parker said this, looked at the smart glasses, and then looked at Mysterio, and suddenly showed a ray of realization in his eyes. Yes. It must be like this. He knows every mistake I've made before and knows I'm definitely not ready for it now. Quote. Then why did he give you these glasses? Quentin Baker appropriately showed a puzzled look. Because he may not have paid Edith to me, but entrusted me with choosing someone who should have it. Peter Parker was excited. As if he suddenly found a good reason to put down the heavy stones on his body. It makes a lot more sense. He always knew I would make the right choice. The world needs the next Iron Man. It won't be me. I'm just a 16-year-old. To have an adult, like you, as good as Tony Stark, in order to shoulder this authority and responsibility. Quote. Enough. Mysterio Quentin Baker was ecstatic in his heart, but on the surface he continued to pretend to be displeased. Peter, you have to believe in yourself. Quote. I'm just doing the right thing right now. Spider-Man Peter Parker took a deep breath and said, I will transfer this pair of glasses, the authority of Edith, to you. This is the best for this world. You are a soldier, a leader. A real superhero who stopped the Elemental Crowd. Are you really going to do this? Mysterio Quentin Baker forced himself to hold back his excitement, and he still had a solemn expression of not caring on the surface. It's about to succeed. Quentin Baker said darkly. Yes. Peter Parker nodded firmly, directly activated the smart glasses, and said, Edith, I want to transfer the permissions to Quentin Baker. Quentin Baker held his breath, his hands hidden under the table clenched into fists, and suddenly subconsciously asked, what day is today? Quote. Peter Parker did not hesitate and replied casually, Saturday. The smart glasses suddenly made a sound of confirmation. Are you sure about the transfer permission? Quote. Wait. Quentin Baker suddenly realized something and shouted, Peter, don't be sure. Quote. Peter Parker, however, had already made up his mind foolishly, for fear of being rejected by Mysterio, and hurriedly added, okay. Late at night bars, a pleasant sound sounded. The system has been determined. Transfer permissions to Quentin Baker, Saturday. On the other side, the lakeside cottage, one of the Stark family properties. Harpy, you come here, don't tell me earlier. Pepper Potts, who had just left work, pushed the door and walked into the living room, but saw Harpy Hogan holding a mobile phone, standing in front of the TV with a solemn face. And little Morgan on the side sitting on the sofa with his mouth pursed. What happened? Pepper Potts asked curiously. Harpy Hogan's eyelids kept beating, and he nervously asked, Pepper, let me ask, what is the artificial intelligence that hosts Morgan called? Quote. Pepper Potts rightfully replied, no, it's called Saturday. 0025 Saturday that decides fate. The system determined that permissions have been transferred to Quentin Baker, Saturday. The feedback sound of the built-in intelligence system of the glasses made the bar fall into a dead silence in the middle of the night. Mysterio Quentin Baker couldn't hide his uncontrollable emotions and exclaimed in disbelief, Saturday? Who is Saturday? Saturday? Peter Parker muttered, I remember Mr. Tony Stark's second-generation AI called Friday. What did you say? Quentin Baker put his hands directly on Peter Parker's shoulders. His pupils were turbulent, and as a smart person, he instantly connected many things before. But why did you involuntarily ask that question? Quentin Baker's eyes were glazed. What day of the week is today? What day of the week is today? What day of the week is today? This cold, mechanical phrase suddenly echoed in Quentin Baker's mind. Since last week, the day it first reached a cooperation with Ultron, Ultron has thrown this question for no reason. Initially, Quentin Baker also felt strange, and later, after repeating the process every day for a week, Quentin Baker also got used to it. And also used this as a code word with artificial intelligence Ultron. Thereupon, just now, the moment when he was about to get artificial intelligence Edith from Spider-Man Peter Parker. Overexcited and nervous in his heart, he couldn't help but think of Ultron, and remembered this question that Ultron raised the most, familiar with the daily problems that he used as a code word. And opened his mouth to naturally raise it in an instant. What day of the week is today? Yes, today is indeed Saturday, and this is the day Quentin Baker and Ultron set last week. But what if Saturday is also a name that exists? Since Iron Man's second-generation artificial intelligence is called Friday, it is normal to have an artificial intelligence called Saturday, right? Quentin Baker felt a chill rush down his spine, and from the first meeting, the other party began to implant hints at himself and secretly manipulated the overall situation. For the moment tonight, Quentin Baker suddenly trembled, snatched the glasses from Peter Parker's hand, and shouted calmly, Edith, I want to control Stark's global safety network. Quote. No permissions, your permissions were removed 10 seconds ago. How so? Mysterio Quentin Baker's eyes turned red all of a sudden, and then he shifted his angry gaze to Peter Parker.